Okay, so I'm Ruth Lowe, and I'm from San Diego, beautiful sunny San Diego. And I've been with Nikken for 20 years now, almost. And prior to that, I was a CPA by trade. And so it's been a long time since I've been doing accounting, but it definitely gave me a good aspect of what we're doing today with you guys. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to Ladies Leading Ladies Summit. We are so honored that you are here today. My name is Ruth Lowe, and I'm here with my co-host Pam Barnes. Please introduce yourself, Pam.
Hi, and I'm Pam Barnes. We live in southern Indiana, which is just on the other side of Louisville, Kentucky. And we've been in Nikken for 22 wonderful, wonderful years. I'm a dental hygienist by education, but I've expanded my practice in more ways than just Nikken.
Very cool. And can you share what your husband does?
Yes, okay. My husband is a CPA. He has 43 years in tax preparation. So that is individual tax preparation, that's small companies, large companies, huge corporations. So it's interesting that I married somebody that was a financial planner, CPA, and a tax advisor, because one of the things I saw in Nikken really quickly was the fact of the tax deduction possibilities, and that attracted me. Ruth and I are pleased to share these with you. We combined our brains and how we do our systems, and so we've adjusted the categories I think each of us have over the years to make them what we're comfortable with and how to do that, and I learn a lot from my husband.
I know, and so do I. So thank you. Alrighty, so before we actually begin, I really want to make sure that all of you realize that we are not giving you tax advice. We are just here to share with you some pointers and tax tips. But if you have any specific questions, please go back to your own accountant and ask them, because we are not tax advisors. So I just want to make that clear. We're just here to share some of our knowledge. And yeah, we'll just go from there. Let's read.
Okay. Well, first of all, the very most important category to put into your reporting is your income reporting category. It is not necessary to separate your income, but it really is a good idea. I know that when your records are organized, easy to read, the IRS agent is a whole lot nicer. And besides that, you can find what you need. So I separate my income reporting by just an abbreviation, okay? I use a Quicken program. You can use whatever you want. That's just something that I started years ago. So I put in if it's a retail sales, which Nikken pays weekly, if it's a commission income from Nikken on the 15th of the month, or if it's from a personal sale that I have in the few products that I keep, which I do not keep often. But it is a good idea to take the time and separate those.
Great. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. So here's page 1. Marketing or advertising. You can use either one. I prefer marketing, but Ron uses advertising. So, you use what's comfortable with you, but stay consistent, whatever you do. So example, the shirt that I have on that we had embroidered, okay, that goes under marketing. Okay, the cost of the shirt, the cost of getting it embroidered. Number 2 is office expense and supplies. Okay, you might need a P.O. box. It's a good thing with the way the mail is these days to keep your checks and all safe. But a P.O. box, the ink, your copy paper, the markers that you have, that you use, things like that go into office expense and supplies. The next one I put in is team incentives. Now I will tell you, as you can see, these are not alphabetized and neither are they on the tax form. So I tried to group them in somewhat similar purposes. So team incentives, like we're giving, and we still do beads. This is a bead that hooks onto a power band like I have on. And we would give those as incentives, okay, for if somebody who had the most customers sign up for that month, who had the most people sign up to be consultants, who advanced in rank, different things like that. And we would give gift cards or whatever. That goes in that category. The next one is door prizes. This also can be included in marketing, but do note that in the little area where you can put notes. So the time of door prizes is a lot of times in health fairs when we're doing a booth. They do not ask you to pay a certain amount of money, but they want you to donate something. So that goes into that category. And of course, the next one is a big one, and very many pages in mine, is products purchased. Now this is merchandise for reselling. And be sure to mark your personal auto ship. And you do need to talk to your tax accountant that you use about how to do that. But do mark it that was the auto ship that you ordered. Some have 2 a month, so one might be a personal and one might be more the products if you're carrying products to sell. The next category is supplies other than for the office. This is like things you would get for health fair booths, candy or giveaway pens or whatever. The covers for our products, like Belva White makes wonderful covers. So those would go into that category. The next one are your demo products. So I think probably most of us demo a lot of duct tape. Okay, so duct tape is a demo product. If you keep a suitcase of things that you use when you go to talk to people and you're not going to sell any of those products, those are demo products. So that goes under there. The next one, which is a very small one to me and hardly ever, is refunds to customers. I think maybe I've had 2, maybe 3 in 22 years. I don't know another company that could say that. The last one on this slide is the promo items. So that's similar to team incentives. So like giving a water filter, if somebody referred you to somebody else who purchased a water filter, then you gave them a water filter as a thank you gift. So those go into promo items.
Great, thanks, Pam. So let me see what happened here. Okay, so I'm going to take the next page and there we go. Postage, stamps. Really should go into office expense, but if you want to keep it as a separate category, you can. I do, but not some people don't. But if you have any postage stamps or envelopes or boxes that you buy from the post office, you can put that under here, or I just include it in office expense. Okay, the next one that we do is shipping and handling. So anything that you, like if you go to UPS and you're buying a box and you're paying or going for a large, you buy supplies and stuff like that, you can put it here, but you could also put it in office supplies. I think that you just have to be consistent, and you'll see that throughout our presentation, is that you need to make sure that you keep it consistent. Event expenses. So if you're doing, like we have Humans Being More, and I decided to go buy some supplies for it, then that would be something that you would keep under event expenses. Or sometimes we give a mini seminar on, bone health, and if I buy any, snacks or something, I can write that off as an event expense. Auto and car expenses. Now, this is something I want to make sure that you're clear. The first thing you must do is keep track of your total miles driven for the year. So the beginning, January 1st, I write down on my calendar what the mile is on my car, and then December 31st, I write down the miles, because you need the total miles, and then you will need to keep track of your business miles. And so you can handle your auto expense 2 different ways. You can either take your business miles, and I'm just going to use round numbers. Say that I had 1,000 miles for business and my total miles was 10,000. Well, that's 10%. I could take that 10% and use it towards my other expenses for my car and deduct that. Or what I do, which is much easier, is just get your standard mileage rate, which is currently for 2020 is 57.5 cents per mile. To me, that's just a whole heck of a lot easier, and so that's the way we handle it. Insurance. Now, if you track your miles and if you actually use the standard mile rate, then of course you can't do insurance. But if you do the percentage I was talking about, you can. Insurance is one of the items that you could take a percentage out for your expenses. Parking and tolls. So, when we're in New York and we're doing a function, If we're going through the tunnel or through the bridge or any highway tolls, all that you can expense. You just have to keep track of that. If I have to go somewhere for a meeting and I don't have my car and I have to take an Uber or Lyft to get there, that is also something that you can expense. Now, if you're traveling for a conference or something like that, I'm going to go through that with you. You just keep them separate. Taxes and licensing, state registration fees. So in San Diego, we have to do a local county tax, and then there's a state something or whatever. So anything like that goes into this category. Beacon renewal fee. Every year we have to pay a renewal fee. That is something that you can deduct as your tax expense. And then bank fees. Some banks will, we have a personal savings and checking account, and sometimes at one of the banks that we used to live in Chicago, they would charge us a flat fee, like $10 for a second checking account. So those kind of fees that are related to your specific account for the business can be deducted as an expense. And then dues and subscriptions. So we have a Nikken monthly accounting fee that they charge us based on our rank. That is deductible. If you use like a Southwest airline card, they charge a fee. Some of them do, some of them don't. But if you use that particular business card, credit card for your business, any fees associated with that can be deducted. And if you have any magazines or other dues or subscriptions, online things that is related to your business, you can also deduct that. Okay, and then let's see here. Okay, Pam.
Okay, page 3. Meals. Boy, this is a big one. This is a category that everybody's excited to use, but you do have to do good accounting for what you did. So you can do coffee or meals when you're with a customer or prospect, training a downline, whatever you're doing there, but you must get a receipt and you must say who you're with and the purpose of the meeting. Okay, yes, I'm sure there's people that just put the receipts in a box and say, here they all are. But that's not going to fly if you happen to be audited. So be sure to mark everything. Seminars and trainings, okay, there's usually a fee. Nikken is wonderful on keeping the fees down, but there usually is a fee because there is a cost to do a meeting for room rental or whatever. Do that and where you went. So let's get into travel when we talk about where we went. So the travel I have in 3 different categories. Travel business, and then I have travel auto and travel meals. So travel business, of course, does not include meals. It's the airfare, the lodging, and the tips. And yes, your tips can be on there. So be sure to write down what you left. If you left $5 on the bed for the maid, put that down there. Travel auto, here again, for taxis, Ubers, Lyfts, a rental car, parking cost involved with that rental car, or even your car if you traveled somewhere and you drove. And this all is related to attending the conference, okay? Any extra days that you stay for pleasure, that parking fee is not going to count. On your taxi or Uber Lyft, you might give them a tip. Ask them for a receipt. Some will give it to you, some don't do that, but you would like them to do that. And so it's really quick. I make a little note so if I do not get a receipt from them to know how much I gave them for their tip. And then travel meals. This is from the time you leave home until you return home. Here again, you cannot deduct expenses on the additional days that are not related, not business related. Okay, that's one you can discuss with your tax accountant and see if whatever situation you have, if he agrees with that or not. But you must separate the travel costs to eliminate questions from the IRS. I'm going to just say the cleaner your records are, the more that you have written down in description, the easier it's going to be for you if you ever do get audited. Okay, so keep it well. My cousin was a trucker, and he made the comment to me because I said, I noticed that the police tend to pull over a lot of semi-drivers. And he goes, yes, and they look for a messy dashboard. Okay, so the messy dashboard is a signal to the police officer that that person probably does not keep good books. So keep them straight. The next thing is phone expense. So your cell phone is a percentage used for business, okay? So you have to be honest with that. Do we all use our cell phones 100% business? Well, if you carry two, one only for business and one only for personal, then yes. But if you have your family calling, texting on your regular line, you cannot. Your new charger that you might have to get, protective cases, all of that go into your phone expense, as well as you have your monthly fee, of course. The internet or web cost is a fee you pay at home or at your office for this service. If you have an office that you have a NECANN office outside your home, most of us, they're in their home. And you need two lines. You've got one phone line and you've got an internet line. And that signifies that you can take that internet or web expense. If you notice on the side, we put paying a web designer goes into here as well, or into marketing, okay? And you're probably going to pay them more than once if somebody's helping you design your web and then update it and all of that. So, of course, that's an expense you can itemize. Computer supplies and support is the next one. So your antivirus fees, your Geek Squad, if you use them, we have a Lexmark printer, so I have a little printer fee for them. I can call them, they can help me get it going. Any of that goes in there. And then the last one on this slide is the equipment, larger office items like laptops, new printers, iPads, your new phone. It could go in the phone expense or into this category. So just be consistent.
Awesome. So we've given you over 30 types of expenses, but the one that always comes up for me is home office deduction. So I want to share with you, if you have a dedicated space in your home that you use for your business, it truly has to be dedicated. You can claim it and some of your expenses on your tax return, as long as you meet the IRS requirements for home office deduction. So what does that mean? Broadly speaking, it means you have to show that this portion of your home is a principal place of your business. One second, I'm going to move this a little bit. Sorry about that. Oh. And okay, so you have to show that it's your principal place of business and that this space is regularly and exclusively used for conducting business. Now, Ron Barton tells me his 4 magic words, right? It has to be solely and exclusive, has to be regularly and consistent, right? So you can't say, oh yeah, I have this space here and I only use it twice a year. Well, that's just not going to cut it. So it's really important. So the example I want to share with you, if I had a 1,500 square foot home and I have a bedroom that's 150 square feet, well then, and that bedroom is only used for NECANN, then I can do a home office deduction. And so how you would do that is you would take a percentage. So let me just keep going on here. So if you don't have a dedicated space for the business in your home, then you are not allowed to take this home office deduction. This is the reason why they use an exclusive use test. IRS does that. And I will tell you, the minute you use this deduction, it's almost like a red flag. IRS is going to be like, what is going on here? Because they are pretty strict about this. So I just want to make sure you guys realize that. And if you do meet the guidelines, then you can use this deduction as a percentage, like I mentioned. If you had a 1,500 square foot home and you had a bedroom that was 150 square feet, that would be 10% of the total. Then you can take that 10% percentage and apply it to the following related expenses. And they are, if you had homeowners insurance, or if you had an association fee, I would take the 10% of those. And if you had a cleaning service, especially if they were, you're cleaning part of the whole house and then part of your business space, you can apply the 10%. Or if you have mortgage, interest, and insurance, you can do that, apply the percentage. Any type of utilities, internet, heat, phone, etc., repair and maintenance, all those you can use that percentage. But remember, it has to be regularly used and consistently and solely and exclusive. Those are the 2 points we want to make sure we hit home with you, because it is absolutely something that the IRS is looking for. Okay, so I'm going to share this with Pam.
Okay, now here is the deal. The number one thing you do not use is the term miscellaneous, okay? Miscellaneous can be a huge box full. Do not do that. And then, as we've said many times, whatever categories you use, you need to stay consistent in your posting. For example, Okay, I have, this is, here, Ruth, I'm going to bring this up to show you all. I think you can see. It's a simple accordion file. Yeah, okay, with the months in there. Okay, and then here is where I put my income, deposits for the bank. I also put all of the things, the product papers that I get from Nikken. Okay, just like this, I file them per month. Now, this is what works for me, okay? Now, the other thing I do, I took another accordion and I covered over the months and I put my expense categories in there. And so when I go out and have coffee, I come home, I write on the receipt. Usually I do it while I'm at the restaurant, and I come back and I slide it right into the slot that it's supposed to be. One thing that I do that I am not going to say is the exact way you should do it is I do not take time every month, every week, every day to do this. I sit down in the winter and take a couple of days and I enter it all into my Quicken file, okay? So these are the papers, and you can see there's many, many, many of them, okay? And I enter it into Quicken just like it was an ever-going checkbook, and do them in there, and then I print it, okay? So, and then I print it, and sometimes I print it about 4 times because I find that I have not been consistent in putting in one of my entries, and I have to go back and put it back in again and correct it, reprint it. Go back and fix them, okay, before you ever take this to your tax person, your CPA, because this will avoid extra cost for your tax preparation. Here again, the more organized you are, the better it is. Print it and review it again. This is actually prints out as a spending report on Quicken. And I have an entry category for income. The first part is all income, and then it goes to expense. One thing that I tried to do, and I got stopped at, is that I had on the very first time that Nikken did a theme party during the convention, and we had a costume to wear. And I got the costume, and I had it entered to write it all off. Okay, it was a business expense, right? And we were going to the conference, right? No, my husband was not happy with me. Okay, so you cannot enter things like that. It's not mandatory that you're in that costume. So he looked at me and he said his famous words, honey, pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered, and I really don't want you to die sitting next to an IRS man. So be careful on what you try to put in there.
It's so true, and I think it's a great saying. This is the point. Don't get greedy when it comes to these deductions. There's numerous things that we can legitimately take. Just do those. You don't need to push it over the limit, and don't get greedy. So I love that saying. I'll have to give credit to Ron. And then I will just add quickly, I also do not do mine weekly, monthly, or quarterly. I sit down at the end of the year and accumulate all my stuff. And then I enter my stuff into an Excel spreadsheet. And it's pretty simplistic. So instead of handwriting in a notebook, I actually just key it into the spreadsheet, and I just give that spreadsheet over to my accountant. And so you have to find out what's best for you. We're not here to dictate to you, but we just wanted you to know the different options. There are also many apps out there. I think one of them is called TaxSpot. I mean, you can just go to your app store and check and find, an app that I think, Pam, you were even looking like business expense tracking or something like that, right? And so depending on your level of high-techness, you can go find something that works for you, or you can be like me and do it manually in a spreadsheet, or you can even write it down, whatever works for you. So we want to just thank you for spending the time with us, and we're so glad that you're part of this Ladies Leading Ladies Summit. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Pam. Love being co-host with you.
Sure. Thank you, Ruth. Yes, teamwork is great.
It is.